So maybe before we start, as always, we can read aloud and inwardly also this opening aspiration. So if anyone would like to read, please unmute and read it out, please, for all of us.
Yes. Opening aspiration. With boundless compassion and wisdom, I will work for the welfare of all. May we be free from hunger and discord and have joy and a world at peace.
Thank you. So today, I think we can continue with verse 2 of Heroic Heart, 37 verses of the practice of Bodhisattva. And there's also a couple of clips that I thought we could listen to while going on with the reflections on the verse. So first, maybe we can continue with little bit with the reading, and then I can share what I wanted to share in terms of listening to a teaching here. Yeah. So I guess we were on page 20, where we were reading about love and attachment. And before we go to directly that paragraph, let us read the verse again on which we are reflecting. Yeah, so anyone who would like to continue with the reading, maybe we can read the verse first and then I can scroll down and we can take it up from there.
I can read. Abandon attachment and aversion. In my native land, waves of attachment to friends and kin surge. Hatred for enemies rages like fire. The darkness of stupidity, not caring what to adopt or avoid, thickens. To abandon my native land is the practice of a bodhisattva.
Yeah, thank you. So maybe you can continue reading this one. Starting from the waves of attachment.
The waves of attachment surge within and around us. We are lost, floundering in this huge ocean, caring about people and worrying about them, and fearing they're going to leave us, and then becoming happy again when they tell us that they love us. Parents with their children. Sorry, I'm laughing because, of course, I can relate to this.
Feel free to take your time to laugh. Yeah.
Parents with their children, couples in relationships, all of this, there's so much going on that it is rare to be able to relax in calm, quiet waters. Mostly the waves of our hopes and fears send us surging up and down. It is all our attachment. Attachment doesn't mean love. There's a huge difference between love and attachment. The Buddha said the cause of our suffering, of our dukkha, is attachment, clinging and grasping. But love and compassion, which are essential qualities on the path, are quite different. They're actually the opposite of attachment and grasping. This is one of the most difficult distinctions for us as ordinary sentient beings to really understand, because in our society, we believe that the more we are attached, the more loving we are. But it is simply not true. Attachment is tricky, but basically it means I want you to make me happy and to make me feel good. Conversely, love says, I want you to be happy and to make you feel good. It doesn't say anything about me. If being with me makes you feel happy and good, wonderful. If not, then so be it. The important thing is that love allows us to hold things gently instead of grasping tightly. It is an important difference. Do you want me to stop?
Yeah, I think, yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much. So maybe taking a pause here, and now is the right time where I can share what I wanted to share with you. It's a short little clip by Jetsunma only on something exactly what we were reading. Just a second. Oh, no, it's not coming. Yes. So,
that we mistake the idea of love for attachment. You know, we imagine that the grasping and clinging that we have for in our relationships shows that we love, whereas actually it is just attachment which causes pain, you know, because the more we grasp, the more we are afraid to lose. Then if we do lose, then of course we are going to suffer. I mean, genuine love is, well, attachment says, you know, I love you, therefore I want you to make me happy. And genuine love says, I love you, therefore I want you to be happy. If that includes me, great. If it doesn't include me, I just want your happiness. And so it's a very different feeling. You know, attachment is like holding very tight, but genuine love is like holding very gently, nurturing, but allowing things to flow, not to be held tightly. The more tight we hold on to others, the more we will suffer. But it's very hard for people to understand that, because they think that the more they hold on to someone, the more it shows that they care about them. But it's not. It's really just that they're trying to grasp at something because they're afraid that otherwise they themselves will be hurt. Any kind of relationship which imagines that we can fulfill ourselves through another is bound to be very tricky. I mean, ideally, people should come together already feeling fulfilled within themselves and just therefore appreciating that in the other, rather than expecting the other to supply that sense of well-being which they don't feel on their own. Then there's a lot of problems. And also along with the projection, which comes with romance, where we project all our ideas, ideals and desires and romantic fantasies onto the other, which the other cannot possibly fulfill. Once you get to know them, you recognize that it's not Prince Charming or Cinderella. It's just, you know, a very ordinary person also struggling. And unless one is able to see them to like them, as well as feel desire for them, and to also have loving kindness and compassion, then it's going to be a very difficult relationship.
Yeah, so if anyone has anything, then maybe we can share now, and then if not, we can go ahead and look at the example that she's sharing.
I think I just wanted to say that in the video, how she talks about, two fulfilled human beings coming together in a way. And then there can be that experience of love. That's for me, that was something, a nice reminder, because it's very hard not to. I mean, I think. I can speak about me and probably most of us. There's so much attachment in relationships. I mean, if I speak in light of this text, this is all that we see. I mean, relationships are about, you know, expectations, and we can cover them up in whatever words and ways. But at the end, we need something from the other person, and that's why we come together, also, right? We want to feel loved, whether it's physically, emotionally, in whichever way. And it's a very hard lesson to unlearn. I mean, it's really tough.
Yeah, I also very strongly resonate with Shreya, when she said it's a very hard lesson to unlearn. And every time, it's like if I'm reflecting on, say, what was just shared, this thought also comes that how did we get here? Like as in that, how come it's working and it's not working, and the increasing amount of diseases and stress in our world shows it's not working, but we are not looking at the roots, right? We are just looking at temporary band-aids, right? Okay, this disease do this. Now that way the technology is going there that let's find cures. It's not that let's fix why it's happening. So it's very strange that like what is my definition of love? What is my definition of attachment? And where she says that if you're not there with somebody, it's taken as that you don't love them. How it's like I am in my own prison of things, and we all have, those sticky, it's not one of us, right? It's all of us where we have those points where we feel I owe it to them, or, for, so much of that. But the thing is that I don't even know that that's not what it is, right? When I'm doing it, when I'm thinking it, when I'm believing it, I'm mostly I don't even think that this is something that I need to correct or expand my vision in. So that kind of makes me feel a bit, I wish more of us would know, I wish more of us would know, but that's not how it works, right? Like when somebody is ready, when it's their own lived experience, only then you reach that point where we know. But like again, just looking at the definitions of life about, what situation I'm taking as what and stuff, I think it's really important. Like, all this we reflect when we are sitting, and usually how we are, stuck in loops of past and present. So again, just this thing that what grace it is if one is able to not get stuck in the stories and rather maybe go beyond so that one can loosen those grips now, right? Rewrite stories, or why do am I always just going and thinking about this particular person or this particular situation or this particular time in my mind, like taking cues from where I find myself again and again, and now untying, now going and rectifying if I can. I think that's a very good. I mean, till we don't need to do it. Of course, there would be a point because how many loops will you unloop? There's no end to it. And yet taking a cue and start, because then you'll start seeing the same thing again and again, and it would be easier not to give it importance as much as I gave them, and just smiling. Like yesterday we were looking at Champaklaji's poem where, mother said, just smile, 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 smile. So we can step back and smile at the own things which have made me, I don't know, gave me so much pain, so much suffering. If I can actually go back and see with these new definitions, but first I have to believe that. Sorry, all I wanted to say was that it surprises me how far we have come, and we feel we are doing good, right? That we are evolving and such a modern society and stuff. And these are my roots. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so in relationships, we generally feel that this person is going to complete me. This is something that is lacking in me. So once, Saru, you remember you had shared in the study circle on Saturday morning about two beggars. So if you can just share it here again, it will be nice to hear.
I think it was Acharyaji who I heard it from, and he basically had said, that I feel I lack. And I know, most of us are coming from that space that I lack. We don't come together in joy and harmony. We come together, okay, this is what I'll get, or this name, this status, this relationship, this role. So what he had said was, if you just think about it, you are standing there and begging on a corner of a street that give me. And then somebody else is standing on the other corner and saying, give me. But I falsely assume that when one beggar and the second beggar, they come together, now there'll be abundance. Now there'll be completion. But that's what he had said, that how can two beggars together complete each other? I mean, they have to come in completion to, further enhance their state of being. And that's why, when we go into relationship roles or situations with big expectations and images, that's how we go, right? We don't usually have any other way of going in. That's why it hits you, right? That's not what I thought. That wasn't promised to me. That wasn't, mostly it's like, that's not what I assumed. That's the thing. And then the question is, who asked you to assume that it would? But again, we get influenced by social media, movies, Hollywood, Bollywood, and that's how it happens. And that's not the reality most days. So yeah, thank you for reminding that.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, but like earlier I used to think that like in engineering, in mechanical engineering, like they're gears. So so there's a line of gears. One moves in circles, and with that, the second one is attached. It has the surface of the gear is upper niche, up and down, and the other one is stuck with that up and down. So that's how it keeps moving. Because so in relationships also, let's say if one person is very strongly spoken, the other person is very gentle, so we feel okay, they will complete each other because one can fight for the other one can make the situation even by not saying anything. So that's what we see in relationships, that okay, if like opposites attract. So if both of them are complete and then they meet each other, so that's very rare that people are complete. So then if we are actually complete and we look for somebody who's complete, then if then it becomes very difficult to find a pa- I mean relationships, companions, partners.
I think the definition of complete, I think I would look at that. It's just that my false assumptions are not there. First thing is there, I know that the other will not give me anything if I am sitting here saying that give me, give me, give me. So how I'm
Mm,
entering into relationship, job, life situations,
mm,
okay, I am good, and yet this sounds like fun, let me do it, then it's a joy, then it's fun, it's a play. The difference between, they say, maya and leela, है ना? माया में आपको ऐसा लग रहा है कि what is happening to me, and oh god, why is god cruel, why is my life all pain? And in leela you can step back and smile that, oh, this is what you want, okay. So I think something like this. So firstly, not, of course, we are not all complete, and yet knowing that bahar se nahi milega, right? He or she won't give me, and yet I have my own journey. And it may be the type of people we end up with mostly because their origin is like, say loneliness or the seeking of completion. Again, that's not a good match. Like in terms of, how it said that Sangha in Buddhism specifically, Monica had touched upon it a few days back also, how company, even in Upanishads, there's this saying that company is really important. It can make and break you. So who am I attaching, even if I'm attaching myself to, like you so beautifully said, that gear example. Where is the gear going? Which direction? And you're saying that he can fight for me if I am gentle, he, Sha, but what am I fighting about? What are my fights around? Right? Like just a regular everyday thing, what is it bringing me, right? Because mostly then we end up fighting among ourselves rather than outside, even if we do that. So just questioning these definitions and what is my center of operation. Then I say I'm with my child and I am with my child and I love and I want him to, just expand and grow and find his own purpose. Or am I just trying to, put my tags on him? This is what she should do, he should do. In every relationship, realizing that, I have my journey, they have their journey, and if I can, whatever, support, be there, if it's needed, great. But वो cling करके जो ऊपर चढ़ के बैठ जाते हैं, now you are my this, now you are my that. What good is that doing? Yeah, I don't know if that helped or I don't know, not help, but is more.
Right,
more.
right. But this beggar example is very funny. I mean, actually, that's what we do a lot of times, expecting that this is what I don't have, and the other person will bring this into my life. So, and then initially, that video also with Monica had shared once about the relationships getting greasy, like the Indian food. So it's initially just attraction, and then it gets too much, and then we starting having diarrhea or something like this. So the same thing which seemed to be so nice initially, later on you want to get rid of it. So yeah.
Sri used to use this line a lot. He used to say that, it's such a swift journey from I can't live without you to I can't live with you, kind of thing. Like if we look at just that the 10-year slot, 5-year slot, that's how did we come here? So just awareness, being aware of this, okay, I could live anyways and how am I living of, yeah. So it's good to just know, be more aware about what's working and how it's working, so
Mhm.
that at least we are fighting the right battles and doing things for the right reason. And even if you're doing it for the wrong reasons, being aware that, okay, I know probably this is where it will lead me, but I just can't control myself. So that awareness a little bit is there. Yeah, I'll start.
I think maybe we can go ahead, read this next one.
Yeah, from as an example, I tell the story of my mother. My father died when I was 2, so he was out of the picture, and my mother brought up my brother and me by herself. Eventually, my brother joined the Royal Air Force in Malaysia, so only I was left at home. And my mother and I got along very well. She was also interested in Buddhism, so we would go to Dharma meetings together and entertain whichever lamas or monks were in London at that time. Then, when I was 19, I got a letter from India telling me that there was work for me and to come. I remember running through the streets to meet my mother, who was coming from work, and saying to her, "Oh, I'm going to India." And she replied, "Oh, yes, dear. And when are you leaving?" She didn't gasp. "You're going to India? How can you leave me, your own poor mother? I'll be all by myself with no one to take care of me and look after me as I'm getting old." She never said any of that, not because she didn't love me, but because she did love me and wanted what what my phone is a little broken from one side. Yeah. So she did love me and wanted what was right for me, even if it did not include her. Afterward, when I was in India, every 10 years she would write, "If I send you a return ticket, will you come back for a month?" And so every 10 years, I went back for a month, spent time with my mother, and then returned to India. She also came to India for 1 year. She loved India. It was very different from the way it is now, but she loved it. She loved it. She loved the Indians, loved the Tibetans, but she got sick from the food, so she had to go home to England, but that was love.
Yeah, maybe we can take a pause here. Thank you.
Yeah, I remember in Jetsunma's other book also, 12 Years in the Cave, she has mentioned a lot about her mother and her relationship with her and about love and attachment, and that was also very beautiful.
In one of her videos also, I think Mahamudra one, she has spoken about this very beautifully. And there was, also this thing that how her mother had told her friends, that I pray that I am her mother in every birth because she needs special, she if she's special and she has special, I don't know, requirements or she needs a specific as in, like I can understand what she needs. So I can kind of be the launching pad. I don't have to hold her back, like not the words at all, but the realization that live, 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 I'm here. Like the first time I heard it, I was like, oh my God, like is that possible? Like is this also real? So, again, no matter where we are, just reading about these things, knowing about these things, that this is actually happening or this has happened in my world and humans have done this. It's so expanding and so motivating to know that this is my capacity and I can do this too, because of course, that's so big that not going that oh no you're going or not feeling sad, and it's unbelievably beautiful and shows what the relationships how they can be that I don't know that roots where the roots can stick and still you can go anywhere knowing that the roots are together and stuff.
Yeah, there's a saying now, if you love something, set it free. So, I mean, relationships wherein one actually sets the other person free, seem so beautiful. Usually they are more of binding and clinging and restricting.
But I'm reading this. It sounds good, but somehow I feel that in real life relationships. In relationships, there's also some sort of for the lack of a better term, transaction. As in when two adults come together, for example, to create a home. And I'll take example from my life itself, right? There's, as much as you would want to sort of give wings to the other and not hold them down, the reality of life also is that there is a house that needs to be run, there are chores, and you know um I don't know. Then if we take this example, if one person wants to go away, won't the other person be like, yeah, but then all the burden comes on me to run this household, or whatever, whatever responsibilities there are. I just feel that how do I apply this in practical life, in real life? I would end up resenting the other person. As much as I would want to give them wings, if the cost is if the cost comes, if I am the cost, my time and mental sanity, then there will eventually be resentment.
Yeah, if I may again from my own lived experience, I think for me it's this again going back to my main intention of being there or doing any chores. You said that I would want to give them wings, and we do want to give everybody wings, right? Like not everybody, but in general, we want to be that support or we want to be that encouragement so that everybody can go and live their, calling and do what's good for them, not just what is pleasurable for them. So if I have to do some chores and the thing is that I'm just doing it and I'm resenting and I'm bitter and I'm like, I am the only one doing it. Sometimes it helps that I stop doing it. And then I realize I do it because it's bothering me. It's not bothering the other one. So they're okay if they are not doing it, but because it bothers me, I do it then. And then when I'm doing it, it's not that, it was supposed to be done, it was supposed to be done, and the other doesn't pay attention and stuff. So just, talking about household chores. And even, I don't know, with kids, this thing about we forget that the center is love, that's in the disciplining or in the hoping that they'll do the right thing. Then there are no ifs and buts. Yes, I don't know, we came together and it didn't work and it doesn't seem to be working. And it's hard, it's very easy to say and it's hard, but yet seeing things in awareness, if it feels like no, it's like not able to give each other's wing and rather now it's just baggages, which that's how it becomes. So at least I would say again, owning up to it, yes, this is what it is, this is what I'm thinking, this is what I thought it would be. And yet when I'm living it, it doesn't feel that that's what it is. So correcting again the definitions or looking at the expectations. And there are lots of examples like this too. This was again a very extreme and a depth one. Yeah, I don't know. Sorry, it's not very useful. Um,
Yeah, anything? Anyone?
I think I do want to add that, I get into things or rules with certain expectations, the most important being love, right? My definition of love. And yet, when I look at how I've been living it a lot of times, it's a lot of things, yet love is missing. In my actions, in my behavior, in my, I don't know, grasping, that love seemed to be missing. Like having a beautiful house is more important than both of the people feeling joy, kind of a thing. So just that, I think, keep on connect, how when we can connect within and keep asking my intention of why, what center am I operating from? What am I looking? Why am I doing it? A little bit of that checking within helps a little bit in giving up certain bitterness or resentment if it can. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
I think whatever we are discussing around, I think if we just kind of uh, w- concretizing what you all were sharing, two things which we have been discussing again and again. One thing, I think today also we touched upon that. One thing is what we touched upon earlier in your discussion, that the disenchantment part, that knowing that the fulfillment that I am looking, to be really, really convinced that I will not get that fulfillment in anything outward, so that I can be less of a torture on outward situation or a person, and on myself also, because when I am craving for that fulfillment from outside, as was pointed at, then I will actually end up resenting that person, because that is not possible. It's an impossibility that I am looking for. That is not possible. No person has ever found their fulfillment in the other person. It has never been done. I think we keep forgetting. It will never ever happen. It will never ever 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 happen that somebody found their fulfillment in the other person. It may be that some relationships look like they're having a good company, they're enjoying their time together, but then they're both taking care of their own selves. So then I come to the next part, again concretizing from what you all were sharing. First is disenchantment, really becoming, I think we can paste it somewhere on our walls and maybe write, like affirm, so that we really get disenchanted, that this is not going to happen no matter how long I can keep waiting. Not in this lifetime, not in another. Enlightenment can happen maybe in this lifetime, in another, but this will never happen. This is surety, just like divine certitude is there that everyone will realize oneself. Just like that, this is also surety that we will never find our completion in the other person, because that is not the design of creation, and it's an illusion that I am incomplete. That's why I can't find fulfillment in the other person. How can an illusion fulfill itself? So first this, and the second part, because I don't want to get up resenting other people and my own self. So the second part is very important, again picking up the threads from what all was shared so far, to be our best friend, to be my bestest friend, and to nurture ourselves, to stop hankering for other people's attention, and to really enjoy my own company, wherever I am, if I am alone, if I'm not alone, if I'm with somebody, if I'm not with somebody, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if I'm in jail, if I'm in prison, you know standing in a queue, filing a divorce, doesn't matter, you know, I am enjoying my own company. I think then these two things really, I think, push us forward and give us the right attitude in life. First, not depending on anyone, not in the sense we are all interconnected, we are all dependent on each other, not in that sense, but for my fulfillment, you know, that you complete me. So now you are bound to complete me. How dare you not complete me? You know, that's where the tortures begins to happen, you know, again. And because the other person, as you know, the beggar example was shared, will never be able to fulfill that, so disappointment that you promised, but now see what is happening. The poor guy or girl did not know herself or himself that what he is promising, you know, it's not going to happen. So I think if these two things we can take care of, first, knowing that fulfillment will not come from outer situations or people, you know, I have to find that within. I have to be my own best beloved lover that I am finding outside. And the second is that really nurturing ourselves, you know, following things which gives us joy. If art gives me joy, if going around working for people gives me joy, you know, if homely chores give me joy, you know, so not to, little children don't compromise on their joy at all. You know, little children, they're just very stubborn about their joy, and that's why at times they can be a pain in the ass for parents, because the parent got a new bed sheet, you know, but the child doesn't care about your new bed sheet. Quoting a live example. Yeah. So he's just stubbornly after his joy. And that's why little children are joy to be with. Adults are not a joy to be with mostly. So I think if just crux of the matter we can actually apply, because as Shreya was sharing, that how do I apply? You know, so not compromising on my joy, no. And you will see that when you are not compromising on your joy, you are actually not hurting people. You will not be hurting people. Of course, everybody has their emotions which may go up and down, that's a different thing, you know, but you will genuinely not be torturing them. You'll be just having delight, and when I am full of delight, then when I come back home, I can spill that delight and love to everyone. I will not be a bothersome presence around. And leave the homely chores, just leave them like that. If you don't feel like doing it, if they're not bringing joy, you know, when I, for example, when I iron clothes, like a mountain of clothes, I, why do I iron them? Because I love to iron them, not because someone tells me, you know, that you iron them. And then it's joy for me. Then I'm not waiting for someone that, oh my god, I am doing this mountain of, you know, ironing, why, what are you doing? He may say, I'm washing. You know, but yeah, you know, so we are not waiting for the other people to give us company in the work that we are doing, which can be called the mundane work, you know, because I'm enjoying mundane work. Why? Because I enjoy my own company. I am with myself all the time, and I enjoy my company whatever I'm doing. So these two things, again, mother also you know, gives us anecdotes of right attitude, that whatever you are doing, never do anything for the sake of pleasure. We all have done that, we all have suffered, but now we can learn to change that. Never to do anything for the sake of pleasure, but whatever you are doing, do it with pleasure. Or don't do it really. I mean, if homely chores are becoming a burden on your head, leave it, you know, let it be a mess, but be after your joy. And then one day, out of joy, if one wants to clean, you know, clean.
You know, a lot of times I don't even give myself that option that this is possible that we don't do it. And you just have to not do it once, that okay, you know, like, and then you realize that I was wrong. I was wrong. You know, okay, this is done, this needs to be done, this needs to be done, and now it's dirty. Fine, it's dirty. But at least I'm not standing there and just cribbing and, you know, kind of criticizing people in my mind and saying, okay, what kind of a person that person is, this person is that. Like, at least I'm at peace, right? like nothing. And then you will realize that the other person is not even expecting anything, and you are there doing 15 things, and you would want to do them, do two. If you, it's okay to have an untidy house. It's okay, even if there are people coming over. It's okay. We didn't feel like cleaning. It's, but I don't give myself that option. Then it's me, right? It's my problem. It's my shortcoming. The other is fine if he's okay not doing it. He's not okay doing it. It's hard. It's hard to accept this. And yet as an experiment, once we see कि नहीं करूंगी, देखो क्या होगा, और कुछ नहीं होता, everything is fine, बस अपना ही हट जाता है कि ओ मैंने ही पकड़ा हुआ था कि ये तो bare minimum है ही. The sink is full of dishes, and like, how do we make anything? Then you clean one thing, whatever you need, then you again put it, kind of a thing. And again, that works for sometimes. Sometimes the other person does it because later they realize that you never even gave me a chance to do it because you used to do it, before I could get to it. So giving other people that think, okay, I'm also not doing it, but not as a कि भाड़ में जाओ type. Actually, that's fine. Like, I don't want to do this to myself. And if you
Yeah.
could also talk about, how you talk about that stubbornness, that when how Shreya was saying that, it's unlearning seems so difficult, right? So, how you say कि जिद ही तो छोड़नी है. So if you could just share that again.
Yeah, I think on this there is something from Jetsunma which I wanted to read, and then we can take up more reflections. So, Zid, I want to talk about my Zid, many Zids spilled around my life, but one little Zid which I can publicly share. Not all the Zids I want to share here. So a couple of weeks ago, I think I was sharing with Taru that I have to make dahi, in at night. And then she said that why do you have to do it at 12 o'clock, like at midnight? You are waking up yourself that, oh my God, I forgot to make dahi. So I asked myself when she said that, okay, so why not in the morning? She said, why not in the morning? So I said, okay, that's not a bad idea. And then although I gave a couple of excuses that maybe the raat wali dahi achhi jamti hai, the one at night it's better. In the morning I don't know whether it'll jammu or not, but then I thought, okay, let me try. And I tried one day, and after that I've just been making it in the morning, and it's working fine. And I just realized that what I had to do again to leave one little stubbornness, that this is the way it was done. So I'm just giving a very very trivial example. There are very deeper, darker ones that I have, but that I'm not going to give right now. So what you were sharing, कि एक जिद ही छोड़नी है कि इस तरीके से मिले जो चाहिए. And there was a time in my life where I was really struggling, suffering a lot, really suffering. Like, I don't know. For me, it was my height of my suffering. What was cancer? Cancer was nothing in front of, this suffering that I got. And during that time when I was really struggling, and what in Hindi we call tadapna, that thing almost, then I was really tired of that suffering. And I really asked myself that, करना क्या है, बस एक जिद ही तो छोड़नी है कि ये इस तरीके से मिले, तो छोड़ दे. And because maybe I don't know, it has reached pinnacle that I could not tolerate anymore. I don't know what really was the reason, how it worked. But after that I realized that. And also I think ego undergoes a lot of humiliation when we are leaving our stubbornness. So to go through that humiliation, because we are not the egos, we are not the ego, we are not the person I think myself to be. So if my sense of self is dependent upon that zid, that this is how I should get it, and I'm not getting it, and I'm after it, I'm killing myself, the body is giving me symptoms. And the moment I let it go, that okay, doesn't matter, I am with myself, I'm not getting it from there, but I'll generate it within me, I'll take care of myself. And that very moment I was able to leave that intensity of tadap that I was having, realizing also that I was fueling it, that it was just a click of a, that my decision, my will, okay, not going to get it that way, doesn't matter, but I am not going to torture myself because of that. And that's it, So, yeah, something on Zid, that also reminds me. And that Jetsunma shares about in a way that we have to create new neural pathways, that what we are habituated to, that from this person in this way, this is what I should get, this is a pathway that I have created on which I want to walk again and again. So she says that the next time you are going to walk on that, just stop, and maybe create a new pathway. For example, go out for a walk, or meet a friend over a coffee, or whatever, you feel that, okay, so much love is spread all around, I don't have to get it from that one person whose life I am after. And what she was sharing, that that's not love, it's our attachment, that this is what I have to get in this way. So just going to read something on that. So she shares that from a Buddhist point of view, all beings have Buddha nature, and that our original nature is completely pure and perfect. Nothing wrong with it whatsoever. It just got a bit distorted. So some people get distorted on one side, some people get distorted on other side. And as our negative emotions get started, we get habituated. So same pattern of reactions with the same person, specifically closer ones in our life. This is always the problem. Why we get fixed is because from the point of view of neuroscience, we start getting neural pathways going in one direction or another direction. So it's set that from this person, the moment I look at it, at that person, all those ripples of expectations come like alive, they become alive in front of me, and I again begin to expect. Why? Because I am habituated to walk that way. Now she's sharing, it is like you have a major highway, then everybody is going to be traveling on that major highway, but then we realize that major highway is going to lead to crash up, or it's leading to places we don't want to go, like we suffer when we go into that trail of expectation, or whatever emotional demands and all that. So it's going to lead to a crash up, or it's leading to places where we don't want to go, where we feel very disappointed, vitally in bad mood, all that. But then going in a different direction is very difficult. So what Shreya was sharing earlier, that it's very hard to unlearn. But then going in a different direction is very difficult because there is nothing there, no path. And so we have to walk on a completely untracked road. And it's all going to grow back up again. All the grass and all the weeds. And then we have to keep going on that road. We have to make an effort. We have to make an effort to think differently. So what we are doing is, first we were walking on a socially conditioned, mentally conditioned road, that this is how you should get it. Now because you are suffering on that road, so you decide, okay, stop, maybe let's walk another way. But that another way is not a created way. It's not like that major highway. It's all grassy, like bushes all around. Now where to walk? So she's sharing that one time when I walk, then I create a little footsteps there. Then again, next time I stop, don't walk that major highway which leads to a crash, and then walk again that different way. Then slowly on this way, the grass begins to disappear and you create a path here. So this is how a neural pathway is getting generated. So now this has become effortless slowly over time, and going to the major highway which leads to crash, that will take more effort from you, that no, there I don't want to go. It's there, it needs effort for me now to expect from people, to get jealous from people. So all those non-beneficial things, there now you need effort. Here now, after a lot of effort, it has become effortless. So you have gotten into a new way of life. But again, in the beginning, we are putting effort every time. So it doesn't become effortless in the beginning. Every time I am standing on that crossroad, I stop and I say, okay, what do I want? My peace and my joy. And I take the new path. And that's why every time we make an effort, we are actually creating a new habit, which is a beneficial habit, which is not hurting anyone, harming anyone. So the word she uses is skillful. That now we were used to unskillful ways of living, which are hurting others and myself. And now I've started to use it skillfully, my life skillfully. So those things which don't harm people and myself, not to overburden myself, not to overburden others. So this is the new pathway that I'm going to create. Befriending myself, nurturing myself, holding relationships gently, not grasping. The moment grasping self comes, you stop, step back. So it is hard, but because it is benefiting, I should do this. Because the other path, there is no there is nothing going to happen there, I can be sure. And on the other path is also hard, the lives that we have right now, full of expectation, demands, and still not working, still not working. That's also hard. So which hard one should I choose? So this is what, yeah, anything?
Yeah, where were you reading this from, Monica?
Yeah, actually, I had shared this with everyone, but I'll share this again. Something from Jetsunma only, from a transcript I had shared, like a big passage. So I'm just reading it up from my phone.
Okay, okay,
I'll
right.
share it again on Heroic
Yeah.
Heart. I can share it. Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Just think that, you know, whatever I'm standing on can be given up. I think that in itself is something that I take a lot of time to try or experiment with. Because somehow, with our belief, habits we still see, patterns we still see with mind, little bit mindfulness and all, and yet my belief system, my definition of this must happen, that gives me a lot of pain, unnecessary, petty existence and pain, all my musts. And it's really beautiful when one can realize that, okay, this is, it's causing me harm. This is causing me also, this is also a burden. This is also a burden. This is also a burden, because somewhere when we are carrying burdens, we don't even realize the weight of those burdens. And once we keep them down, is we realize that, oh, there was, I was holding a weight. So anything that tells me कि इतना तो होना ही चाहिए या ये तो bare minimum है, if I can look at it and reflect and actually question it कि क्यों, अच्छा मतलब घर में ये तो करना ही है, एंड क्यों, बिकॉज मैंने हमेशा करा है, तो मेरी मम्मा हमेशा करती थी, तो उनको किसने बोला, है ना. So just that thing, yeah, Shreya, bye, thank you for joining. So it's just, but when we go back like that, there's no beef in it. There's no real substance. बस चलता आ रहा है. So I just latch on क्योंकि तो ट्रेन चली रही थी, मैं भी बैठ गई हूँ, and now I have to follow each and every rule of that train, which is my thinking, my belief, and causing me pain. So,
Yeah. And you remember Acharya Prashant's, that example of if you are in a wrong train and after, some stations you realize that, oh my God, wrong train. So would you still keep on being in that train, thinking that how much humiliation it will cause you? Or you would actually get down the next station and then, take the train wherever you want to go. So मुझे लगता है मतलब many a times because of this humiliation thing, that ego will get humiliated, and since we identify as the ego self, it goes on and on and on, that log kya kahenge and all that. Yeah, even what would I think of myself, because even for myself, I have images. Yeah.
You know, my like Soham and I, we were on a bus. Like we got late. We got on a wrong bus. Then we got on the right bus. It got very late, and we were supposed to get down on a stop. And that stop, always flashes on that main screen in the bus. So it didn't come. It didn't come, and then a stop which is two stops further than where I was supposed to get down, that came. And for me, I was like, how can I miss that stop? Like, I was looking outside, I didn't see anything familiar, and it's supposed to come on the screen. So I cannot miss it. So we kept on sitting in the bus for three more stops, and it was really late, and we were tired because I couldn't believe that we can miss it. And when I got down, I was like, how did that happen? Because I clearly saw the stop, which is, two stops further than where I was supposed to get down, much closer to home, where I could have gotten down and I couldn't. I was in shock, I was in surprise, I was like, नहीं 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 कुछ गड़बड़ हो रही है उतने में ही काफी और मैं आगे पहुंच गई adding another kilometer to my way back home. We are so slow to see and react because ये हो भी कैसे सकता है उसमें ही हम काफी देर स्पेंड कर देते हैं. Which is
That's a
okay.
very good
Then
example. Yes, yes. I think there I somehow it also resonates with how strongly we are sure of our thoughts. That how can I be wrong? How strongly, and I think with all this whatever we are doing, all these discussions, reflections, the book readings and everything, one thing which is coming again and again is that not to what Jetsunma shares, again and again, not to believe in our thoughts, opinion, ideas, not to hold them too tightly. That I can be wrong. Of course, I can be wrong. I'm wrong most of the times. So I think then it really becomes simple to, as you were sharing, I think the example was really very practical, that to really see that, oh, yes, I can be wrong and get down immediately. Yes. Yeah. And also, as mother says, this requires a lot of humility, because the ego would not like to uh, say that I was wrong. But when we realize that, yes, I didn't know. So that humility aspect is one of the cornerstones, as mother says, in this path. Because the ego would never be really on the ground, I knew, I was right. Yeah. And I think there one thing also happens, which I'm seeing there, that then we don't try to fix people. Usually we are always, the ego is trying to fix the other people, in what we think that they should be. And that's why getting frustrated over them, that why are they like that all the time. But when I become unsure of my own thoughts and, opinions, ideas, whatever, like I see limited perceptions, then it is not possible that I try to fix a person in my own image, that this is what I think you should be and this is how you have to be. Yeah. So more space for, I think, freedom, respect, care. So maybe we can take up the next one. Yeah. Page number, what was this? 21. Yeah. Yeah, there is an Australian cartoonist. So from here we can take next time. I also wanted to share just a little snippet. It's not a video. It's something from Jetsunma only on what again we were reading neural pathways. Just a second. Where is it gone? Okay. No. No. Maybe I deleted it. I don't know.
I
Oh,
will just share something while you're finding.
got it. Yes, yes,
Okay, you
please.
got it. No, first you go.
No, it's just a few lines on how meditation alters the neural pathways. Just a second. Yeah, this one. So Jetsunma says that meditation, it's just an excerpt from her talk, like a summary of her talk. Jetsunma says that meditation can alter neural pathways in our brain. It's like a person traveling by what we were reading just now, traveling by the same route every day, who hates the challenge of discovering a new path. With meditation, our minds are open to the idea of different possibilities. By meditation, she doesn't mean fancy stuff. She recommends people to just pause for 30 seconds at various points of time every day, like the 1 minute meditation thing. Click. I'm not going to click. If we do this every day, we will become very skillful in dealing with our emotions. We will start observing our minds, which, according to her, is the most important thing anybody can do. Becoming an observer can make us emotionally intelligent. And I think it's amazing that how in the synthesis of yoga also we are reading about this, how to step back from the emotion mind, thought mind. Yeah, so just wanted to share. Yeah, you go ahead.
Yeah, I actually don't want to after this, but since I said it, this thing from, the sunlit path, just rely on the divine alone, this aspect that you had typed, how strongly worded this was, that the first time I read it, I actually could feel that strong resistance that that's not possible. But if we could just go through the first paragraph, because the sooner we realize this, like, we hear it and there is so much back and forth within the being, that then we can, maybe there's more paths that open up. Ritu, would you like to read it?
Yeah. Rely on the divine alone. There is one thing you must learn, never to rely on anyone or anything, whatever except the divine. For if you lean upon anyone for support, that support will break. If you may be sure of that, from the minute you start doing yoga, I always speak of those who do yoga. I do not speak about ordinary life. For those who do yoga, to depend upon someone else is like wanting to transform that person into a representative of, like, wanting to into a representative of the divine force. Now you may be sure that there is not one in 100 million who carry the weight. He will break immediately. So never take the attitude of hoping for support, help, comfort from anyone except the divine. That is absolute. I have never, not once, met anyone who tried to cling to something to find a support there. Someone doing yoga or who has been put into touch with yoga and who was not deceived. It breaks, it stops, one loses one support. Then one says, life is difficult. It is not difficult, but one must know what one is doing. Never seek a support elsewhere than in the divine. Never seek satisfaction elsewhere than in the divine. Never seek the satisfaction of your needs in anyone else except the divine. Never, for anything at all. All your needs can be satisfied only by the divine. All your weaknesses can be borne and healed only by the divine. He alone is capable of giving you what you need in everything, always. And if you try to find any satisfaction or support or help or joy or heaven knows what in anyone else, you will always fall on your nose one day, and that always hurts.
Yeah, I think we can stop here. But this, like the first time I read the always, there's no if and but about it. So that came as a shock, and I was like, no, 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 wait, 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 let's add some maybes and could be's, and and yet to just remember this, at the back of my think, oh, mother said that, mother said that, kind of helps. And of course, the back and forth will happen and must happen because it's so against what we have believed. But yeah, he says that rely on the divine alone. So then all my mistakes are my mistakes. I can, it's on me. It's not out, 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 out. If I am believing in something and somebody say, I don't know, giving me hookah or something, that's on me. That's not on somebody. If somebody is not meeting my expectations, is not, complying to my image or something, that's on me, on me. I think that's a very important turnaround that happens, that it's me, it's me,
I
it's
think
me.
यही जिद हो गई ना. This is the stubbornness that again and again I forget. Again and again, I again want to depend upon for my need, for my emotional support, something. And actually, I had put on my wall, this thing, the never thing, when mother says you fall on your nose and it hurts. And every time when it hurt me, like I fell on my nose, then I looked at that poster. You said so, but it's again, we need to have many experiences because it's like, very sticky, these old habits, and slowly only after many experiences we get convinced that yes, not this way. Yeah. So I remember looking at that uh, paper on the wall only when it used to hurt my nose. And then the last sentence as if will come out of that wall and look at me. Yeah, funny. Okay, so maybe we can take a moment in silence and sharing the merit, joy, understanding, delight, the wisdom, if anything, all the merit we share with all the sentient beings. May all our hearts be peaceful, and may we have progress and joy in life.